that listens hard and consoles even harder.
And in other news, a group of semester at sea students steal an anchor for their dorm room. A 5-year-old wants to be an overworked Haitian nanny when he grows up, and every group of friends at a karaoke bar ruins every other group's night.
This is the Onion News Network.
The Call to Freedom is an opinion show. It's meant for informational purposes only. It is not licensed financial advice. It is very important to do your own analysis before making any investment based on your own personal circumstances. You should take independent financial advice from a professional in connection with or independently research and verify any information that you hear from the Call of Freedom and wish to rely upon, whether for the purpose of making an investment decision or otherwise. I mean, come on, guys. Duh. It's a cryptocurrency investment and a political talk radio. Of course, it's opinions.
Computers are online. I'm gonna start loading software.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Call to Freedom.
Broadcasting live from Vertcoin Studios on LRN FM.
You're listening to Will.
You will listen to every damn word I have to say.
And Aria.
Be afraid. Be very afraid.
Stay tuned for political talk and everything crypto. That's right.
Broadcasting internationally on our Bit Plus Network satellite.
This is
the Call to Freedom.
All right, let's boot it up.
Welcome here to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. Broadcasting live from our Zencastr studio here in beautiful Keene, New Hampshire. It is another beautiful day in the Shire. Now, I believe we've got Mr. Tom Gray on with us live via remote.
Oh, yes, you do, the birthday boy. And for my birthday,
you are super quiet, Tom.
For my birthday, I got 8 counts against Paul Manafort, and I got Michael Cohen pleading guilty. It's the best birthday ever.
You turn your mic up, Tom. We can barely hear you. Yeah, you're
all right.
way
Give me a second.
There we go. Now I heard that. Also in studio with me, as usual, we've got my everyday co-host, Miss Aria Demezio. How you doing today, Aria?
I'm doing good.
Very good.
Excited for the show we have today.
I am too. Now we're going to start the show off with a subject. The title is "The State of the Believer Changes 40 Times in a Day," but it's actually a discussion of the stagnation of human personality, of humanity in general. That we are becoming a people that we don't evolve anymore. There are many people particularly in Western society that their psychological, emotional, and intellectual evolution stops at some point in their life, and they never change from that point forward. 50 years you go back to that person and they're probably in the same house at the same job with the same views and like everything's the same except for they have more gray hair now.
That's such a bizarre concept to me. I mean, considering.
Yeah.
But I mean, even that aside, life continually changes. I can't imagine being
exactly
the same from one day to the next,
right?
Much less.
Well, let's see what the academic has to say.
One of the things that a lot of Muslims become frustrated with is, and I've met Muslims who've told me that I've been doing dhikr for so long and I don't see any benefits. Ibn Ata'illah said, لولا الوارد ما كان الورد. Had it not been for the opening of God, you wouldn't have been doing any consistent dhikr. That in itself is an opening from God. If you're reading the book consistently, that is a gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I was with a Mauritanian recently in Mecca, and he said to me that his father is a beautiful scholar and somebody who's really does a phenomenal amount of worship. And he said to me that one of the prayers that he supplicates to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is that God give him the delight of his heart in the prayer, because he sees his father praying constantly, and his father can't live without the extra prayers, not just the 5 daily prayers, but the actual extra prayers. He could not live without praying tahajjud. That for him, it's like breathing, it's like eating, it's part of his life. And that's what he asked me. He's told me that that was his prayer to Allah, to give him the same delight in prayer that he sees his father achieving in prayer. But his father did not get that overnight. It comes with mujahada, because the beginning of the struggle is that one works, but it becomes easier and easier. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make it easier and easier for you to derive benefit. And this is why if your prayer, after 20 years of praying, if you're praying at the same level that you were praying prior to that, something's wrong. Imam al-Junayd, who's called Imam al-Ta'ifatain, the Imam of the two groups, because he was an Imam, a leader in his spiritual understanding, but he was also a leader in the Thawri madhab. He was a leader in fiqh and in others, so he was called the Imam of the two groups. The people who were mastering the inward sciences and the people that were mastering the outward sciences. Imam al-Junayd is an Imam by consensus. Imam al-Junayd radiyallahu anhu said, المؤمن يتقلب في 40 حالا في يوم واحد. The mu'min's state will change 40 times in a day. والكافر يبقى على حال واحدة ل40 سنة. And the disbeliever will stay in the same state for 40 years. Now, one of the things you notice about children, if you have children or have been around children, they're constantly changing. A child will be happy one moment and crying the next moment. The reason for that state is because the child is always in the moment. The child, he or she is in the moment, and the moment is very meaningful to the child. So if something happens that upsets the child, because they're so present in that moment, it manifests quickly in their state. If something makes the child happy, because they're so present, it manifests in their state. But there's people walking around in the world that are somnambulant. They're sleepwalkers. They haven't experienced the joy of the moment. One of the things that the early community used to say is that al-Sufi ibn waqtihi, that the Sufi, and this word, which is a good word, there are people in Imam al-Bukhari's collection that have the laqab of al-Sufi, which the Sufiya, the early people who were the Sufiya, they were considered people who had divorced the world. People who had divorced the world. A group later who imitated them, and often were not people of the same upright character, became known as the Mutasawwifa. And the early community distinguished between the Sufiya and the Mutasawwifa, the people of Tasawwuf and the people pretending to be of the people of Tasawwuf. Most of what people condemn today from amongst the so-called Sufis is actually condemning the Mutasawwifa. And it's important that the Muslim should be able to distinguish between these two groups. Mukhtar al-Buna, one of the great scholars and erudite masters of the Islamic tradition in Mauritania, said that قوم عاش بها خير عيشة فصيرت من بعدهم معيشة يدعى الذي يمشي عليها السالك وسالكوها اليوم حزب هالك. That this qawm, the early people, they were called al-qawm because of many hadiths that refer to the qawm. Hum al-qawm la yashqa bihim jalisuhum. They are the people that if you sit amongst them, you are not amongst the wretched. Just the fact that you are in their company means that you are amongst the people that are close to God. Even if you're not amongst them, the fact that you're in their presence, you're not one of them, but you're one of them by being with them. Because there's a blessing, al-mar'u ma'man ahab. A man is with the one he loves. So if you love somebody close to God, you will be with that person, inshallah, on the Day of Judgment. And the Sahaba said nothing made them more happy than this statement that a man is with the one he loves. Because they all knew that they had mahabba. If they had anything...
All right, so it's going off of the subject now at hand with the discussion of mahabba. I actually gave a lecture on the concept of mahabba in... that's the lecture that Abel Slave was talking about, was the concept of mahabba, which is love. love, which is a central aspect of the Muslim tradition, which most people don't actually realize that. They've got a pretty unfortunate perspective on the thing. But when we get back here, we'll be discussing this idea of stagnating in life and people who their state does change versus those.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Stouffer's, helping bring your family together with wholesome dinner options, even on the busiest of nights. Find dinner table ideas to bring your family together at letsfixdinner.com. To get kids involved in dinnertime conversation, ask specific questions, not broad ones. Instead of what happened today at school, try what was the best thing that happened today. The more specific you are, the more they'll have to say. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveatpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. SaveAtPurse.com. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
You are listening to the Call to Freedom on LRN.fm. Unasikiliza wito wa uhuru katika LRN.fm.
Rick? Hey, Morty. Rick? Are you far away or are you inside something? Is the camera? Is everything a camera?
right, welcome back to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM, where we are broadcasting live from the Zencash studio. Actually, I don't remember the name of it now, but they did change it. Anyway, we're broadcasting from there. They're one of our awesome cryptocurrencies that we like to promote. But anyway, we were discussing before we went to the break this concept of stagnation, and when human beings who are, living in a adaptive, changing world become stagnant. And it's something that I haven't seen to the extent of finding someone who is exactly the same today that they were 35 years ago. Well, actually, I think my father would actually count as one such person. But I think what we're really ultimately dealing with, as he began to talk about the fact that, children live in the present moment, we do exist between this sort of razor's edge between what has been and what will be. But because we're the thinking animal, as Will likes to say, we spend so much of our time focusing on looking forward or looking backward, focusing on what is coming or what has happened, that we lose sight of the actual presence. We almost literally pull ourselves out of the present and instead exist in the future, filled with anxiety about what may happen, or filled with guilt about things that are in the past because they did happen, rather than focusing on what is actually happening. Are you there, Tom?
I'm back now.
All right, welcome back. So did you hear the clip? I wasn't sure what point you had to check out.
I've heard much more of you than I've heard of the clip.
Okay. Well, what are your thoughts in general about people who don't change?
Depends on what the change is.
Well, the clip talked about how... the clip was kind of all over the place, to be totally honest. It didn't really...
Yeah, that's why I was having trouble formulating thoughts on it. When you... and with... Will, you started finding all these scholarly clips that have the music in the background, and it's really... The ADHD co-host is having issues focusing on serious theological issues when there's I'm like a squirrel seeing shiny objects sometimes when I listen to the clips. So go ahead, Arya. Give me the prompt. Give me a prompt to work from.
Well, the basic idea is that the believer changes. 40, I don't know where they got that number from. It seems like a number that was just put out of someone's rear 40 times per day. And that I would characterize the people as knowers, or at least people who pretend to know or believe that they know, which still makes them believers. But let's not get into that particular technicality. You have believers and you have knowers. As we talked about the other day, they're like cups. The believer's cup, ideally, can still contain something that is poured into it. But the knower's cup is full. Believing that they know, there is no way for them to improve their knowledge. They essentially become unaware of their own limitations. I think is the way I would put it.
When you talk about people being non-constant, when you talk about people changing multiple times a day, you're not usually talking about knowledge or belief. You're talking about emotion. And emotion absolutely affects our ability to understand. And it affects our ability to learn.
Definitely.
I can easily...
Oh, yeah. I mean, if your wife is convinced that you're cheating on her and she's pissed off at you for it, that emotion is going to completely prevent her from accepting the fact that you're not. Just for one specific example.
Yeah, or if you're convinced that evil immigrants are coming to get you, you're not going to listen to statistics to the contrary. Or if you're convinced that evil guns are coming to get you, you're not going to pay attention to statistics to the contrary. Or...
Well, you might, and that cognitive dissonance may come into play depending on how emotionally invested you are into people who are in your life and how emotionally invested one is in the idea itself. It happens a lot, or it happened a lot during the 90s with gay and LGBT people, where, there was this idea going around through certain religious communities that all LGBT people were evil, satanic, or whatever. or wanted to go have gay sex on the front door of family homes, whatever. And a lot of people came to find out that, oh, well, my brother is gay. Okay, so either my belief about gay people is wrong or my understanding of my brother is wrong, because there was that conflict. And depending on which one of those two ideas they were more emotionally invested in, they would either decide that, they were wrong about their brother and their brother was secretly really one of those evil, horrible gay people. Or they would create, if they were equally invested in them both, they would create an exception. No, if they were more invested in their brother, they would create an exception. Yeah, they would say, okay, well, my brother isn't one of those people, but the rest of them are. And we sort of heard that yesterday with Bad Slave's call about Will and about what Muslims believe. And he seemed to suggest that, he likes Will's interpretation of Islam, but it's those other Muslims who believe the wacky crap.
And of course, I get that plenty too, both as a Christian and as a recovering Republican.
Yeah, I do too.
And it's, it's the problem of the black friend. Having a black friend doesn't keep you from being racist. It means you've made an exception to your racism.
Very true.
It means that you are using an emotional attachment to a specific person to carve out an exception to your own wrong thinking. So that's an example where having an emotional attachment can cause you to be right, but only in one small situation. And in the rest of the situations, you're still horribly wrong. Horribly, horribly wrong.
That's very true. I never really thought about the, obviously there's so many problems with the whole, well, I got a black friend thing. I've never really thought about what the specific issue with it is. But you're absolutely right. It's the same sort of exemption that people are crafting to their own skewed ideology.
And in that sense, he talks, I did catch part of the clip where he talks about how your relationships and your life can affect your thinking. In that sense, sometimes people don't let their hearts guide their thinking enough. Because sometimes the heart leads you to the kind of compassionate thinking that can really get you off of your negative prejudices. Really, the fact that you have an African-American person close to you or an LGBT person close to you might soften you on some things where you genuinely need to be softer in your thinking. And in that respect, the emotion can be something that feeds knowledge rather than inhibits it.
Very good.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
From the day an ancient cave dweller painted yet another f***ing elk hunt on a wall in 15,000 BC, to Gary Marshall's 1974 discovery of 13 weather-beaten North Dakotan coal miners that would go on to become the cast of Happy Days, The Onion looks back at This Week in History. On June 17, 1954, the effects of the previous month's historic Supreme Court ruling in Brown versus the Board of Education provided black students with the educational opportunity of experiencing racism firsthand in desegregated schools. Up until that point, African American pupils could only endure racial slurs and death threats in city streets or near their homes. And on June 24, 1784, 13-year-old Edward Warren took the first hot air balloon flight, becoming the first American to urinate on a crowd from 100 feet in the air. And that was what happened this week in history.
This is the Onion News Network.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
You are listening to The Call to Freedom live on LRN.FM. تستمعون إلى نداء للحرية مباشرة على LRN.FM.
All right, welcome back into the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. Broadcasting live from our Zencash studio in beautiful Keene, New Hampshire. It's another beautiful day in the shower. We made it a whole day with no rain.
Well, sort of.
Oh, did it rain and I missed it?
Well, it rained last night.
Oh, that's right, it did.
It did.
And I just heard the like
as soon as I went outside to smoke at one point, it started raining.
I got the
Oh, the flash flood thing?
The thing, yeah, it just went off in the kitchen. Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know why. The local radio thing, it just went like there's not a cloud in the sky. What are we?
No, it's a pretty bright day.
I'm dying.
Oh, well, I find it comfortable.
Yeah, well, I sweat like a whore in church, like 45, 24 hours a day. You see. Yeah. You've seen. Like everybody in the house can be comfortable. And I'm literally look like someone is slowly pouring a glass of water on my head. It's like that scene in Airplane where the guy's like sweating. That's me all the time.
And I'm more like the devil who stepped out of hell into New Hampshire. It's like, what are you talking about? It's freezing.
Yeah, my wife's the same way because she's from Kenya. She's just like, oh, this is great. So, yeah. Anyway, so we've been talking about the idea of stagnation. Personal stagnation, getting stuck in a rut, so to speak.
And to lead you back in, it ultimately comes back to the cup conversation we were having. And these people who become full cups and who stagnate as a result.
Yeah. And it's within every tradition, every group, every social group, they all have these people that they become almost like
Well, humans are creatures of habit.
Yes, very much so.
When we become comfortable.
Well, what if change is your habit? I think is that the mark of successful people? Is change is your habit?
I don't know about successful. I'm a well-known wanderer.
Yeah, right.
It's the reason I don't have kids, man, and only have largely self-sufficient cats to worry about.
Yeah. I have, I grew up with a perfect, like, beautiful example of this whole concept. I have a sister, bless her heart.
Yeah, it made me realize that my dad is exactly that way as well.
Oh, what?
My dad is exactly that way as well.
Yeah. I have a sister, bless her heart. She, when I was a little boy, and when I say little boy, I mean like 3, she went to school. Now, because she was in resource classes, they couldn't expel her. But the other girl wasn't in resource classes. They did expel her. My sister went into my grandfather's liquor cabinet, mixed a bunch of different stuff out of the liquor cabinet so that she wouldn't pour enough that anyone would really notice. Mixed it all together in a quart jar and took it to school. And then her and 2 of her friends got pissed drunk at school. Her 2 friends got expelled.
Young, dumb, broke high school kids.
Yeah, right. And then
I did crap like that in high school, though.
So they get expelled. My sister doesn't get expelled. She just gets suspended for a few days. Okay, my sister is now, so she was born in 1968. So she's like 50 years old this year. And she's still that 15-year-old girl who stole liquor out of the liquor cabinet. Which nothing about her has changed. Completely irresponsible. Completely like she just has no care in the world. She's just the same. She's the same girl. Nothing about her changed except for her hair got gray, and because of all the drugs, her teeth fell out. And that's it. Nothing changed. More money, less money. Like some things changed. Like she got married and she got divorced. Those types of things changed. But her, she never changed. Never. She's probably got a warrant for her arrest in some county in Tennessee as we speak. Because that's just my sister.
Yeah.
That's how she is.
Well, I feel you. I mean, my father's exactly the same way. He's probably 60 now, living at home with his grandmother, with my grandmother. Just the latest in a long line of old relatives that he's lived with and mooched off of until they died.
Wow.
Leaving them destitute as they die in the hospital bed.
Yeah.
He's done this to at least 4. And, he's exactly the same today as he was when I was 4 years old. Because he was doing it then.
Yeah.
Eating painkillers and Xanax to get through the day and...
Vegging on the couch.
Yeah.
I mean, funny enough, my sister, her husband, well, late husband, was the same way. I remember being 15 and him going to his mom's house, who was an old woman, should have been retired long ago, but she's still doing an in-home hospice nursing job so that she can give him a check every day for between $20 and $60. He cashes it, goes and buys this is the mid-90s when you could get those mega-sized bags of cheap potato chips for 99 cents. Okay, that was lunch.
The good old days.
Right? That was breakfast, lunch, and dinner for my 2 nephews and niece. And the rest of the money got spent on crack. Okay, that's what he was doing before he met my sister when he went to prison in Georgia in 1982. Like he had already been to prison for cocaine and breaking into people's houses. And sure enough, I'm 15 years old. This is 25 years later. Guess what? Nothing's changed. He's exactly the same person.
So because I know in my father's case, the reason he's able to not change is because people are enabling him.
Same thing.
So, I mean, first it was my Aunt Mabel, and then it was my great-grandmother, and now it's my grandmother. And they all get manipulated into, sort of falling for his tricks. I can't imagine.
Oh, my sister's got like 4 guys.
It's almost like a David Koresh level of influence and manipulative ability that he has over people, because my grandmother knew it.
Yeah.
She watched him do it, and she criticized him for it. And now it's happening to her, and she can't see it.
Wow.
Yeah, she believes everything he says is the truth.
Now, my
It's
sister's
just-
got like 4 or 5 guys that she strings along that are like that. That she just, if one of them says something that makes her mad, she just leaves and goes to the other one. And, you know, she burned one of them up because my nephew broke into a neighbor of ours when they came to Florida for a visit. And he ended up spending 7 months in jail over my nephew.
Oh.
Yeah. He sat in jail for 7 months for a crime he didn't commit or have anything to do with. The day that they were selecting his jury, they let him go because they had actually arrested the guy who committed the crime, whose name was Mike. And my sister's boyfriend's name was Mike. And that was the only similarity between the two of them. They had the same first name. Yeah. So they arrested him, held him in jail for 7 months. 6 months of that, they knew they had the right guy and that my sister's boyfriend was not guilty. And they continued to offer him plea deals for 5 years in prison for a crime they knew he didn't commit at that point. Because the other guy took a deal and admitted that he did it. And then when they went to select the jury, they let him go that day. That's grimy, yo.
Yeah,
but
it
he's
is.
the only one.
Also kind of typical, unfortunately.
He's the only one that has ever gotten away.
You know, don't take the plea pamphlets that we hand out outside of courtrooms. Don't take the plea. It's a trap.
Depending on the situation, yeah.
Yeah. But, I mean, that's what they do. They charge people with crimes they know they didn't commit, and they offer you, okay, well, we'll sentence you to 2 years instead of, 35. If you just say you're guilty, just say you're guilty. Doesn't matter if you're guilty.
We want the W.
Yep.
Justice. That's what they call it.
Our prison industrial system overlords want you to work for them. So just say you did it.
Florida's the worst. Florida's been doing it for years. We'll be right back.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless free market non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
The warning signs.
First, he made me feel special. He promised he'd look after me, provide for my future. He broke every promise he made.
Millions of Americans afflicted.
I was ready to leave, but he told me he'd change. So I gave him another chance. I was such a fool.
The consequences.
Things only got worse. He started making my decisions for me about my job, my kids' education, my money, my safety, my future. He took away my choices, but I kept going back to the same politicians.
The diagnosis? Battered voter syndrome.
I fell for the same old lies. They were just playing with my emotions, telling me what I wanted to hear. That's not right.
If you're tired of the two-party system but want to support a principled Libertarian Party, check out the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire at lpnh.org. That's lpnh.org.
Did you know you can get news updates about what's happening with the Liberty Radio Network delivered in the way you prefer? You can sign up for our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. Plus, you can stay in the loop by joining our Facebook profile at facebook.lrn.fm or follow us at Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm. It's all free, so sign up now at updates.lrn.fm for news updates delivered to your email box, facebook.lrn.fm to follow our Facebook page, and twitter.lrn.fm to receive our tweets.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
Imagine someone in your community getting in their car, turning on the radio, and hearing the Liberty Radio Network. You can make that vision a reality with your own micro radio station. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how you can put our programs on the air in your area. You can have LRN.FM running around the clock, and you can even add in your own local shows. Building a radio station is simple, but programming isn't. That's where LRN.FM comes in. Learn more at broadcast.lrn.fm. That's broadcast.lrn.fm.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
This is Angel Clark, and you're listening to The Call to Freedom on LRN.fm.
Welcome back into the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. We're broadcasting live from our Zencast studio here in beautiful Keene, New Hampshire. It's another beautiful day here in the Shire. We've been talking about the concept of stagnation, social stagnation. Just those people, and we all do it. We hit these points in our lives where we just kind of stop. We quit learning. We quit evolving. We quit moving forward. And it may just be for a short time. Unfortunately,
the unchanging mind is a dead mind. And that's actually an interesting theological idea. Because one of the arguments against the perfect mind that many theologians say that God has is that the perfect mind is an unchanging mind. And therefore, it's dead. So it's an inherent contradiction. But we are speaking colloquially. We aren't saying that, this human's brain or this human's personality is literally not changing at all, because it obviously is. Cells are, dividing and reproducing and all of that. So there's obviously some change going on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that was all. That was all.
Okay.
Just random thoughts about, this whole concept of unchanging minds. And, I would say that in the colloquial sense, we can absolutely consider these people to be, at the very least, undead. Because they appear to have about the same brain functionality as your average zombie.
Very true. Very true. Tom, I know you're here. You got to have an opinion on this.
As far as unchanging minds, like, there's a difference between changing your course of action and changing your way of thinking, for one thing. So that's when you talk about God as an unchanging mind, there's a big difference between being perfect as a matter of state and being perfect as a matter of action, or being unchanging as a matter of state and being unchanging as a matter of action.
Well, I admit that that's a largely unrelated tangent that I'm not mentally prepared to get into.
Right.
It was one that I was going to latch on to because, theism over here, just saying.
Yeah. A lot of theologians like Daniel Craig do make that argument. And, whether I don't know that I even agree with what you said when it really comes down to it, because changing one's way of thinking does in fact change the actions that one commits. That's why we tell people when they repeatedly make stupid decisions, you need to change your way of thinking. And that leads to a change in actions. So a perfect mind unable to change its way of thinking because it's already at its peak must be considered dead because it cannot change its actions either.
What's that? The old saying: when you quit learning, you quit living.
Yeah,
that's the real death, is when you stop learning, when you stop moving forward.
For people, yet again, omniscience wouldn't, and to an omniscient being that wouldn't apply.
Well,
why wouldn't it
Tom,
apply?
you and I are on the same page on that. We're talking about humans here.
Why wouldn't it apply? Because you said so?
Well, because
or because
that's how
you don't want to
if you started
apply
out
it?
with everything. I mean, first of all, it's a different level of experience. When you say you don't
I'll agree
literally
with that
die when you
wholehearted.
stop learning. You don't literally die when you stop learning. Like, you don't die a bodily death when you stop learning. What that proverb means is
right
that you lose a critical element of the human experience.
Right, I
But-
said that a moment ago, that they weren't literally dead.
but that's not a part of the God experience, and it never was in the first place. So there's nothing to lose there. Like, it's meaningless for God to stop learning because God never learned in the first place. You know everything in the first place.
Okay, I can't argue with it. I can't argue with that.
Of course you can't, because I'm right.
Well, I mean, if that's your belief, there's no real, there's nothing to dispute. That's how you're defining your God. So it's kind of a tautology, I can't dispute your definition of God or the God that you believe in. That would be insane.
On the flip side, there's also, when you stop learning, you stop living. It presumes that what you're learning is good or positive or correct, because you can go on living and learning a bunch of wrong stuff and actually diminish your existence by learning bad things, or diminish your existence
we have
by
a
learning-
concept in Islam. It's actually part of a prayer. It's, "Oh God, grant me knowledge, but protect me from knowledge that is harmful, knowledge that could harm me."
Yeah, there's plenty of things.
Useless knowledge is actually in that as well. Like, just to know something that is of absolutely no use to you.
And they are
Oh,
different.
I'm full of that.
Useless knowledge and harmful knowledge.
I have tons of useless knowledge. Yes.
There are people out there who know what it looks like when their parents are having sex that probably wish they didn't have that knowledge. Just because it's knowledge doesn't mean it's positive.
Right? Oh, goodness gracious.
And I hope my kids never fall into that category. Hope.
Which category?
Yeah. The category of people who know what it looks like when their parents have sex.
Yeah.
I'm in that category.
I'm in that category. Yeah. We've been caught.
When
you've
Chloe
got-
was,
I don't have kids. I was the kid who
Caught. Yeah. No, we've been caught. But when you have as many as we do,
Well, I mean,
the odds go up significantly.
Yeah.
It's only traumatic because we choose to let it be traumatic, though. I mean,
my kids don't seem to be bothered by it.
200 years ago, your parents literally screwed each other
in the same room
in
as
the
you.
same room, 3
Yeah.
feet from you,
Yeah.
probably in the same bed.
Yeah.
And it was just part of life,
Yeah.
We put all of these, just like we condemn nudity now. We associate it with sex. We put all of these walls around sex so that it does become this great, big, gigantic ordeal. It's just two people screwing.
Well, I mean,
Every human does it.
A police officer acts as a wet nurse, which is a normal thing.
What?
And it's international news. There was a police officer who there was a family, child rescued from an abusive situation, and she breastfed the child. And it was front page news that a woman acted as a wet nurse for a baby that wasn't hers, when that was such a common practice in ancient societies that, like in Islam, you become brothers. If you suckle from the same breast, you are considered a family member. Like all the rules for non-family members no longer apply to you.
Interesting.
Counterpoint, just because it's common or should be common doesn't mean it's not laudable.
I would disagree. It's the commonality of it and the frequent exposure to it that causes us to see it as not a big deal. And
Well,
it's
it's
sectioning.
common.
Hold on. It's sectioning all of these things off and putting them behind closed doors. That when we happen to glimpse it, causes us to freak out. I mean, it's Pavlov's dog all the way, or it's a Skinner box, whichever one you prefer. I think Pavlov's dog would be more. Yeah, Pavlov's dog would be more appropriate because we have conditioned ourselves to think of sex as this taboo, forbidden thing, and to think of the female breast and breastfeeding and all of these other facets of human sexuality as things that should be carefully guarded. So when you walk in on your parents
that's
having sex,
not quite relevant to what I'm saying. What I'm saying is just because it's common doesn't mean it's not something that's praiseworthy or even newsworthy. It's something that people should be recognized for doing. And the fact that society makes it...
Do you mean just because it's uncommon?
No,
because
I mean
obviously, because it's
just because
mundane, being mundane makes it something that shouldn't be celebrated.
Well, what I'm saying though is like this happened.
plenty of good things that are mundane.
It happened in Argentina.
I didn't say good, but I mean we're not going to celebrate. Woo! I put my shoes on correctly today.
It happened. What I'm saying is that
kids.
It happened in Argentina
a couple of times, maybe, but if you don't do it every single day,
and it's national news here, it's such a big deal. When it should be something that it's like, oh, that woman was a human being.
Well, our cops aren't.
We shouldn't be celebrating
our
people
cops are
acting.
mindless automaton murder.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. Physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
The three most important things you can do for LRN.FM are: 1. Let your friends know you're listening to LRN.FM on your social networking profile. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.lrn.fm. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program at amp.lrn.fm. It's my firm belief that the AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented groups. Support all your favorite organizations, but make sure you give $5 a month to the AMP program at amp.lrn.fm. I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin. mymagicmud.com.
More of the Call to Freedom is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene, the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Thursday, August 23rd, 2018. Silver is trading at $14.62 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,191 per ounce. Zencash is trading at $20, and the average price of Bitcoin is $6,423. Antiwar.com reports Senator Chris Murphy's amendment to withdraw all funding for the U.S. involvement in the war in Yemen was blocked by Senate leadership on Wednesday, preventing it from getting a vote for inclusion in the 2019 Defense Appropriations Act. There was language aiming to limit U.S. involvement in Yemen in the 2019 National Defense Authorization Act, but President Trump's signing statement indicated that he does not intend to comply with that. This meant using control over the funding through the Appropriations Act, which was the next real chance to require compliance. The Murphy Amendment said largely the same thing as the language in the NDAA, except with the added threat of revoking funding. It seeks for the administration to certify that any U.S. involvement complies with international law. President Trump objected to offering such a report to Congress. Senate leaders complained they felt the Appropriations Act was too important to pass to allow it to be cluttered by amendments that limit where the war funding included in it goes. This means, barring another bid for a War Powers Act challenge, the unauthorized U.S. involvement in the war will continue.
Born into a devastating world and raised among the crowd, the Cloudwalker assumes a new identity and begins the unrelenting quest for truth. In this epic journey, he discovers dark secrets about aspects of his previous life that he once trusted. Through the Journal of the Cloudwalker, he shares both the traumatic hardships and the eternal beauties of his experiences. Dear Society by the Cloudwalker is available from Amazon.com.
UPI reports existing home sales fell again in July, likely because of the high mortgage rates and high prices, continuing a 5-year decline, according to the National Association of Realtors. Sales of previously owned homes fell 0.7% to a seasonally adjusted annual rate of $5.34 million per year. The figure is 1.5% lower than it was in July 2017 and marks the fourth consecutive month of decline. Despite solid economic growth in the United States in the past year, rising prices, higher mortgage rates, and a limited inventory of available homes have forced some potential buyers out of the market. NAB economist Lawrence Yun said too many would-be buyers are either being priced out or are deciding to postpone their search until more homes in their price range come onto the market. Realtors have warned that many buyers, notably first-time buyers of homes, are being priced out. MarketWatch reported on Wednesday that they now acknowledge that other potential customers have chosen to wait until market conditions change. First-time purchasers made up 32% of all home buyers in July, a percentage slightly higher than in June, but still well below long-time averages. The NAB report noted an 8.3% decline in existing home sales in the Northeast in July, a 4.4% increase in the West, a 1.4% decline in the Midwest, and a 0.4% decline in the South.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at WeUseCoins.com. That's WeUseCoins.com.
Reuters reports a federal appeals court on Wednesday upheld a permanent injunction blocking Alabama from banning the most common method of second trimester abortions. But two judges from the 11th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals in Atlanta used the 3-0 decision to cast doubt on the Supreme Court's abortion jurisprudence, including that terminating a pregnancy is a constitutional right. Abortion is a central issue in the U.S. Senate confirmation process for President Donald Trump's Supreme Court nominee, Brett Kavanaugh. A close vote is expected. Some states are passing restrictive abortion laws they hope might win favor from a conservative Supreme Court. Alabama was trying to enforce a 2016 law criminalizing the dilation and evacuation procedure, which the state calls dismemberment abortions. The law was challenged by the West Alabama Women's Center and Alabama Women's Center, the state's only abortion clinics performing the procedure. The American Civil Liberties Union represented them. Last October, U.S. District Judge Myron Thompson blocked enforcement, saying the law would effectively ban abortions in Alabama after 15 weeks. In Wednesday's decision, the first by a federal appeals court on the issue, Chief Judge Ed Carnes said the law imposed an undue burden on the right to end pregnancy before the fetus is viable. The ACLU said federal judges have blocked similar bans in 5 other states. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Shortly after beginning his first date with area woman Pauline Geary, smitten local man Brad Holtman told Onion reporters he couldn't believe that the woman was also a fan of the 1960s British rock band, the Beatles.
We were just talking about music, and she mentioned that she liked the Beatles, which is crazy because I love the Beatles, actually. Yeah, funny thing is, I was not really even looking forward to the date. I figured we get a drink or whatever, but it's turning out a lot cooler than I thought it was going to. I mean, she's just such a huge fan. She knows all the Beatles names. She even owns some of their albums. I've been a Beatles fan since like 6th or 7th grade, so I don't want to get too excited and jump into something. So I think I'm going to ask her if she's ever seen The Godfather, which is probably my top 5 movies of all time.
This is the Onion News Network. The Call to Freedom is an opinion show. It's meant for informational purposes only. It is not licensed financial advice. It is very important to do your own analysis before making any investment based on your own personal circumstances. You should take independent financial advice from a professional in connection with or independently research and verify any information that you hear from the Call of Freedom and wish to rely upon, whether for the purpose of making an investment decision or otherwise. I mean, come on, guys. Duh. It's a cryptocurrency investment and a political talk radio. Of course, it's opinions.
Hodl.
You better hold on for dear life, because it's time for the Crypto Hour, brought to you by motionproject.org here on the Call to Freedom.
It's the Call to Freedom's Crypto Hour here, brought to you by the Motion Project over at motionproject.org. And we've got a pretty full list of stories here for you guys today. We wanted to start off with, I guess it's good news for folks out there who have been victims of this type of scam. Police in California just arrested a SIM card scammer. We'll tell you about it. California police arrested teenage SIM swapper, allegedly stole crypto from cell phones. Police in California have arrested an alleged hacker, stole Bitcoin totaling more than $1 million by hijacking cell phones. Investigative cybercrime blog Krebs on Security reported August 22nd. Excuse me. Citing a police report, the publication reveals Xavier Narvaez, 19, used SIM swapping, a technique also known as port-out scam, to reportedly steal cryptocurrency from victims' devices. Over a period of several years, Narvaez and another suspect, allegedly already under arrest, used the funds to buy items such as luxury sports cars.
Idiots.
From March to June of 2018 alone, Narvaez...
I'm sorry, did they not think that was going to get people's attention?
Right. From March to June of 2018 alone, Narvaez's account on the cryptocurrency exchange Bittrex processed 157 Bitcoins, around $1,009,000.
Let me offer a tip to the 16, 17, 18-year-olds out there planning to do this. First you go to Europe on the proceeds. Then you buy your expensive sports car. And when people ask you, you say, I'm from a wealthy family. You don't stay where you're at and spend $250,000 on a car that you have no way to account for.
Or to drive. Says the police report also confirms
How
that...
can you be so smart that you can conceive this scheme, yet so stupid that you do that? I mean, that's like
because criminals are dumb, Aria.
And kids are even dumber.
And criminal kids are the dumbest of all, as anyone who went to public schools knows.
Yep. I did. And Tom's right.
I was arrested at 17 for being a young, dumb criminal.
You're right.
But you know, even then, if I had $1 million worth of Bitcoin that I was splitting with me and my friends, and they started buying sports cars, I would have left the country. I'm like, you idiots are going to prison. You're going to be getting banged in the butt. I'm going to go bang some chicks in the butt.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, I'm going to pull a Roger Ver. You can see me in St. Kitts.
Or a John McAfee.
Yeah. Well, the police report.
I love the idea that we just really confused a lot of listeners who don't know that Ari is trans.
Or
like,
that
wait,
do.
how is she gonna do? How is she gonna do?
Oh no, they know I'm
that?
trans.
Or that do know that you're trans, and they're like, girls, what?
Right. That's a different discussion, though.
Swiggity swooty. All right, back to crypto.
Anyway, so the police report also confirms that crypto payment processor BitPay was used in Narvaez's purchase of a 2018 McLaren.
Oh my!
From a car dealership in Southern California.
At least I had the presence of mind to mute my own F-bomb.
Let's see what the 570S
Look, if
costs.
you're a teenager and you're buying a McLaren and you're not playing Need for Speed, you better have a really good reason why you have that kind of money.
$188,600 for the low end one. That's for the 570. The 720 is more. How much is the 720?
And why would you buy a McLaren?
The 720 is $343,000. He didn't think. What was that? Brewster's Million? Oh, no.
He bought it because of Need for Speed. I can tell you. Because
Right.
it's always the...
Oh, okay. Well, according to the report reproduced by Krebs on Security, Narvaez had used the same device to commit the crimes multiple times, with the publication summarizes ultimately gave him away, as approximately 28 SIM swaps were conducted using the same employee ID number over an approximately 2-week period in November of 2017.
So hold on. Instead of using some of this money to conceive of a way to do the crime without it pointing directly, he was doing this on his own employee ID? Am I understanding that correctly?
Yeah.
This was doomed from the start.
Further investigations by Vice revealed that the SIM swapping underworld regarded the 19-year-old as one of the best SIM swappers out there. Nonetheless, Narvaez was unsubtle.
No, he was one of the dumbest.
He was unsubtle about his reportedly illegitimate cryptocurrency gains, posting photographs of cars that he'd purchased on Instagram. Earlier in August, a U.S. investor filed a $224 million lawsuit against telecom's giant AT&T over alleged negligence, claiming that $24 million in cryptocurrency had been stolen via a digital identity theft of his cell phone account. The episodes come as attitudes among U.S. law enforcement have become more nuanced regarding the use of cryptocurrencies by malicious parties. In an interview with Bloomberg earlier this month, Liliana Infante, an agent worker with the Cyber Investigative Task Force at the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration, said she hoped cryptocurrency remained in favor in criminal circles, noting, "The blockchain gives us a lot of tools to be able to identify people. I want them to keep using it." The police report notes that the investigators...
Yeah, that's why the non-idiots have switched to Monero.
They had used the Bitcoin blockchain in order to trace the flow of the Bitcoins used to purchase the McLaren back to an address attributed to the cryptocurrency exchanger in Bittrex. Also noting that BitPay provided records that identified the Bitcoin transactions in which the vehicle was purchased. At the same time, the DEA reported that the percentage of crimes involving Bitcoin had dropped dramatically since 2013, something we reported on last week. Where the DEA now admits that 90+% of cryptocurrency transactions are now just investments. People wanting to make an investment. 10% of cryptocurrency transactions now are quote-unquote illegitimate, and I'm sure most of those are people
what is
buying
an illegitimate
pot
transaction? Taxation?
To them, an illegitimate transaction is you buying something that the government says you don't have permission to buy.
Okay.
Which you could just as easily...
I think I would just consider theft
buy
to be
in
the
cash.
only illegitimate transaction.
Most of these things you can buy in cash. The only reason why cryptocurrency makes it easier is because you're ordering things through the mail. Some people order things through the mail. Outside of that, crypto...
I mean, it's definitely more of a hassle to go and meet the MDMA dealer when I can just send them some Bitcoin and they mail it to me? I mean,
oh, goodness gracious. No, we are not in any way encouraging people to buy MDMA with cryptocurrency.
No, hodl it. Use your cash to buy drugs.
Right. I don't know anybody that uses cryptocurrencies to buy drugs.
I don't either.
Everybody that I know that...
And I know a lot of people involved in both.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
If you're looking for work, you know what I mean by elevator speech. It's the short version, saying just enough to make the listener want to listen more. Even if you're not a job seeker, effective communication skills have never been more important, with money and attention so scarce now. So to cut through the clutter, choose every single word as though it was the last word the person you're speaking to will hear. Otherwise, it might be. Instead of saying, due to the fact that, say, because, and avoid mispronunciations. Say jewelry, not jewelry, which could offend. Undoubtedly, you don't want to say undoubtedly. And whatever you do, never use a preposition to end a sentence with. Just kidding. For more tips, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live.
It would be better if we talked about the basis of all of this as far as the legal theory.
I get the legal theory. That's the problem with people who call like this, Scott. You really sound like you know what you're talking about, but ultimately you don't have anything to prove that you know what you're talking about. And everyone who's ever tried this stuff has gone down in flames. And of course, everyone always says after that, like you're saying about your own self and your own experience, oh, well, I didn't know enough at that time. I know now. And I really don't want to hear any more about this until you actually come up with some evidence, because I'm telling you, it's bunk and it doesn't work at all because these people don't follow their own rules. Even if you have figured out from inside their own rules, even if you spent years, as you say you have, researching their ordinances and researching their statutes and how law works and the contract stuff and all of that, none of it matters because they don't follow their own rules.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM. Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
You're listening to The Call to Freedom on LRN.FM.
تستمتعون إلى برنامج نداء للحرية مباشرة على LRN.FM.
so we're back here on the Call to Freedom on LRN.FM. It's the middle of our crypto hour, brought to you by Motion Project over at motionproject.org. And you heard Carlos, hey.
Someone needs to ROM hack Ocarina of Time so that instead of Navi saying, hey, it has him.
Hey.
That would be the only way to make that stupid fairy more annoying.
Well, you know what that means. It means we're here to tell you about a scam. That's right. People out there trying to steal your hard-earned money, steal your hard-earned crypto, and pocket it for themselves. A new scam the Federal Trade Commission is warning about, and blackmail. U.S. Federal Trade Commission is warning consumers about a new type of Bitcoin scam that attempts to blackmail them, to blackmail men. Scammers are sending letters threatening to expose an alleged secret and asking for a confidentiality fee paid through Bitcoin, wrote Christina Miranda, member of the Federal Trade Commission's Division of Consumer and Business Education, on Tuesday. An example.
My gosh, I wonder what kind of secret they mean to imply.
An example letter stated, I know the secret you're keeping from your wife and everyone else. You can ignore this letter, or you can pay me $8,600 in confidentiality fees in Bitcoin. The letters reportedly also provide instructions on how victims can make these payments. The Education Division, whose goal is to protect consumers from deceptive and unfair business practices, also provided guidance on how men can avoid losing funds to Bitcoin-related blackmail scams. I'm going to wander out on a limb and say the first one is, don't screw around on your wife.
That's not even what I was thinking.
Well,
I was gonna say, just be honest with your wife about what kind of porn you're watching. Diffuse the hackers, proactively.
It reminds me very much of the Boondocks episode where Huey's got this plan to rescue a guy from prison by writing an anonymous letter to the governor saying, I know you're really gay. And he's like, well, I figured, 5% of the population is gay, and half of all people who cheat on their spouses, so he's probably got a 2.5% chance of working.
Yeah.
There you go. But the second thought would actually be what Tom said, don't keep secrets. Be an open book, man. I mean, if you've got something to hide, you shouldn't be doing it.
The agency recommended that potential victims report letters immediately to both local police and the FBI. While the Federal Trade Commission specifically said the scam is targeting men, comments suggested that it may also be targeting women. One comment by a user named Hannah said, I'm a female, and I've also received a similar threat. The email had somehow confiscated one of my passwords.
Is she female or is she trans female?
I don't know. The email had somehow confiscated one of my passwords and threatened to use pictures, etc., to make pornographic videos and posters using my face. They also demanded that I pay thousands of dollars in Bitcoin to prevent that. It's not the first time the FTC.
Why would you want to prevent that? Put it on a DVD and sell it. You don't even have to be naked. They're going to do all the work for you. I mean, let them do it.
Ask Risa Willis why. Because if you're a school teacher, then you lose your job. A lot of jobs when those types of things come out. Even if they're fake, just the scandal around it, depending on certain professions.
Well, I no longer live in that world, so I'm out of touch with that. I mean, if porn came out regarding me, it wouldn't matter. Not in the slightest. And it's not just because I do the radio show. It's because the IT work that I do, that my colleague wouldn't care.
Yeah.
As long as clients don't sit there watching it while they're at work.
I don't know. Some of them might.
They do. Not porn involving me, obviously, but we have had to have so many talks with people about watching porn on work computers while at work. It's far more of a problem than most people would think, or it's exactly as much as a problem as most people would think.
It's a pandemic in our country. It really is.
But I mean, if you've seen one woman naked, it's like Ron White said, you do want to see them all. I love porn. I think it's one of the best things ever invented.
Not me. I'm the opposite. I think it's damaging. I think it honestly is damaging to society. It creates unrealistic expectations.
It certainly does that.
You know.
But nowhere near as badly as Hollywood. And that's one point that I continually make, and nobody listens. If you want teenagers to start wearing condoms, don't make porn stars wear them. Make Hollywood actors wear them. Because you have never watched a movie where they were about to engage in a sex and you say, oh, wait a minute, I need to grab protection.
Right, where it took
Unless
like 20
it was
minutes.
part of a gag, like in The 40-Year-Old Virgin. Other than that, you're not going to watch Matt Damon do it or insert popular actor.
No, there's no Jean-Claude Van Damme movie where he gets the girl and there's a 5-minute scene of unwrapping the banana, you know.
but there needs to be, not because of legislation, but because, I mean, if we want to socially impact people, we should use the actual media that they pay attention to. People aren't paying attention to those details in porn.
That might actually be an improvement over a lot of Jean-Claude Van Damme movies.
And now we have the 10-minute unwrapping the condom scene. Stupid thing won't open.
Nothing kills
I mean,
the...
Seinfeld was probably the most honest show ever about that. George trying to beat the clock.
Beat the clock.
So we were discussing something.
Yeah, basically that's really the end of it. But it's a new scam evidently that's just now come out where they're just sending guys emails, and it's successful.
Someone did hack my email a few years ago and sent out a mass email to everybody in my contacts saying, "Hey, I'm gay, and I just wanted to let you know." I still don't know who did it. It was someone I knew clearly, and who was just trying to make my life hell. But
miserable.
Nobody in my world gave a crap, man.
Like, whatever.
It's like, who do you people think I'm surrounding myself with?
For real, yeah. Like, I'm gay. Well, you wear a dress, so...
Those people threw me out of their lives when I first grew hair and played in a rock band, man.
Right?
They disassociated me from me when I was 12.
All right, when we get back here, we're going to continue on with the rest of the Crypto Hour. We are going to talk about Dash. That's right. We're going to talk about how even if Dash is not successful, it could have a major lasting impact on crypto adoption. We'll be back with all that and a whole lot more here on the Call to Freedom.
Laid it on the line. I won't slave for beggars' pain.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up in any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
Hi, I'm Derek J. To me, an activist's calling is to actively work to advance a cause. The cause for which I work is personal freedom. I believe my life is best when I engage in voluntary interactions and self-government. I reject the idea that anyone else has a higher claim to my life or my body than I do. I see people who call themselves the government as a threat to my personal freedom. I realize you may feel differently, but my relationship with the people who call themselves the government is completely involuntary. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com.
Did you know you can listen to LRN.FM via our free-to-air satellite channels? We have channels over nearly all of North America and much of Africa. All you need is an affordable receiver and a dish as small as 30 inches. There are no monthly fees. Learn more at sat.lrn.fm. Plus, if you are a broadcaster or want to be one, this is a good delivery method for our content. See our coverage maps and get details at sat.lrn.fm. That's sat.lrn.fm. sat.lrn.fm.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
You are listening to the Call to Freedom on LRN.fm. आप सुन रहे हैं स्वतंत्रता की पुकार सिर्फ और सिर्फ LRN.fm पे।
All right, welcome back into the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. Trying our very best on every day of the week to warn you of new scams, tell you about new products, new comings and goings on in the crypto community. Dash is, it's out there. The Dash back program seems to have stopped, I guess.
Yeah, it died.
It was intermittent before.
Well, you know what I think happened? Once they started reducing the fees, they saw that the transactions went down substantially, and then they reduced it to 10%, and they just fell off the face of the earth.
Mm-hmm. So now they're just not worried about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, you get your 10 cents back from your soda.
Yeah.
Anyway, well...
Which, I mean, you get that back from, just about any decent credit card provider.
Yeah. Basically.
Without having to, deal in Dash, which has a long-known problem with having been pre-mined.
It says here, according to CoinDesk, even if it fails, Dash could have a lasting impact on crypto adoption. It's easy to see why Zimbabwean entrepreneur James Sarashera wants to use cryptocurrency to circumnavigate inflation. As a university student in South Africa, Sarashera dropped classes and worked multiple jobs when inflation in his homeland made it impossible to remit school fees. His parents later lost their savings and pension investments after another bout of hyperinflation. Yet when Sarashera founded his payments startup in February 2017, after years of researching different blockchain networks, he made what many in the crypto community might consider a surprising choice. He picked Dash to be the backbone of his business. Founded in 2014 as Darkcoin, before adopting a more regulator-friendly brand, Dash is best known for its optional privacy features and boasts a market capitalization in the lower half of the top 20 cryptos. It's drawn a fair bit of criticism for its cryptography practices and the way the core team has been run as a for-profit venture from day one. But Dash has at least one thing going for it. Its team has figured out how to win over entrepreneurs in the developing world like Sarah Shara. His startup, KuvaCash, was seeded with a grant from roughly $550,000 worth of the cryptocurrency from the Dash Treasury DAO, a pool of mining rewards that allows Dash fans worldwide to submit proposals and vote on which ideas get funded. Sarah Shara said it's as close as you can get to a perfectly decentralized democratic organization. Now he's getting ready to pilot KuvaCash's mobile payment app with 100 users in October.
Hold on. I don't think he knows what those words mean. A small cabal of people who are dictating how funds are used is certainly not decentralized. And if anything, that would be oligarchical, not democratic.
How many votes? Ian would know. How many voters?
I mean, it's certainly not set up to be like Zencash or Motion or something like that. Where anyone who has the currency has a vote.
11% return, blah, 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 blah. I don't see a thing that tells me how many there are, but there are a lot. It's not a very small group.
Well, I mean, relative to the number of people who probably own Dash, I'm sure it is a small group.
Okay.
It may be in the low hundreds, or it may even be a few thousand, but I'll remind people that, the Bilderberg Group contains several hundred members, and it's still an elite group of the most wealthy people in the world.
Sorry, I just saw a liberal that compared Gerald Ford to Mike Pence, and I had to stop myself from laughing really loud. Anyway, so basically, where were we at here? Says that I feel like I want to sneeze, and I can't. While cryptocurrency adherents have been evangelizing the technology in poorer countries since the early days of Bitcoin, few projects, if any, have done so aggressively as Dash. The Dash Treasury DAO alone has granted over $33 million worth of Dash since 2015, $2.3 million of which went to projects in developing countries like Zimbabwe, Ghana, and Kenya. That number is clearly ramping up as the community shifts strategies. Out of 27 grants in the developing world, 20 of those proposals had received funding over the last 12 months. The August 2018 payout alone is expected to give around $920,000 worth of Dash, including grants for programs in Venezuela and Brazil.
Well, Venezuela certainly needs it.
In addition to providing startup capital, the project has set itself apart in these markets by offering support for entrepreneurs starting with their first transactions and wallet all the way to launching a Dash-oriented business.
But, my question would be, how do you get Dash to the people in Venezuela who actually need it?
Right.
To the people who can't buy groceries because they don't have any money, and therefore they have no money to use to buy Dash in the first place.
How do you get Venezuelan things onto the Dash voting protocol when it requires like $1,400 worth of Dash just to get in to be voted on? And if it's voted down, I don't think you get that Dash back.
Really?
I don't think so. I could be wrong. We'll ask while we're on break just to be sure. But
I mean, if Dash was doing a lot of entrepreneurial, that's not even the word I'm looking for. Charitable is the word I'm looking for. Things with the money that they're making, that would be great. But I'm not convinced that they are, especially not since they specifically chose to run themselves as a profit organization, not a nonprofit charity. So, I mean, they're ultimately seeking money, and that's fine. I'm a capitalist, go guys. But I don't see it doing a whole lot for the crypto community versus things like Motion or Sadaka.io. I mean, there's an enormous difference between people who are doing things to do good things, which, propels the industry forward, and people who are doing good things in order to capitalize on the good publicity.
Or the bad fortunes of other, because they're targeting. I mean, it's
they're
brilliant.
essentially like, how can we turn Venezuela's economic collapse into our profit at the end of the day?
I don't know. I hate to put that, because I know some of the Dash development team. They're really good friends of mine, and I really hate to put that kind of a negative perspective on what they're doing. They're trying to help.
Well, they're
people.
welcome to come on the show and prove me wrong.
Well, they're trying to help the people of Venezuela. If they make a profit in the process, I'm not going to be upset, but I'm going to try to look at other people and be like, okay, and see them having better motivations than that, than saying, okay, how can I turn their suffering into my own profit? I try to look at other human beings and not automatically think that they are horrible, evil people who are motivated. And it's actually had a very poor track record for me, truthfully, because I trust people that I shouldn't, and I end up in trouble because of it. But anyway, when we get back here on the Call to Freedom, we will be, we'll continue. You know what? Everybody knows what's going on with Dash. They're trying to get it into the third world. We're going to continue on with online ID control, blockchain platforms versus government, and Facebook. When we get back here on the Call to Freedom.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
Now that you've found the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM, you may want to help expose others to our great programs. To assist you in doing so, you'll find resources at promote.lrn.fm, including details on how to get a free bumper sticker, quarter-page flyers you can print out and distribute, banners for your website, as well as files that will allow you to make your own custom banners and graphics. Visit promote.lrn.fm and help bring new listeners to the Liberty Radio Network. That's promote.lrn.fm.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
You are listening to the Call to Freedom on LRN.FM. Unasikiliza wito wa uhuru katika LRN.FM.
All right, welcome back into the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. It is the final segment of our Crypto Hour on this Thursday afternoon. Your drive home from work around, 15 minutes till 6. And we are going to be talking about online ID. That's right, online identification.
Oh, dear.
Yes.
Must we?
Well, we're living at a time of unprecedented concern over identity. Fears abound that our personal data is being abused by distant third parties. While this data has become more valuable to us at a time when our identities and the identity politics we base around them have become more central to our lives. It's in this context that blockchain technology has appeared, and while its application beyond cryptocurrencies is still limited, protecting our online identities and data more securely looks set to be one of the most central applications. In its most basic outline, the use of blockchains in the area of securing personal data is simple. Our data is stored in encrypted form on a decentralized network, and we can grant other parties access to some of this data by the use of our private keys.
Run as fast as you can. Burn that. Burn the person offering you that.
By virtue of this basic
Lord.
framework, blockchain tech promises to place control over our data back in our hands.
That is infinitely worse than the whole blockchain voting thing. Because this is essentially irreversible.
At a time when Facebook and other technology giants have been abusing and misusing it, and seeing how how crypto giants such as Coinbase have recently moved into the arena of decentralized ID, it would seem that it already has strong backing and support within the cryptocurrency industry.
See, Coinbase is trying to be the leader on it. That's how you know you don't want anything to do with it.
However, as sound as all of this is in principle, there are a variety of...
What principle is that? The I don't give a crap what happens to my data principle? I mean, the way to protect your data, I mean, you have to be active about it. You have to be active about what trackers you're allowing, what scripts you're allowing, and all of that kind of thing when you click on advertisements and videos and things you're interested in. That's the only way that you can actually be in control of it. Turning it over to a blockchain so that you can license other companies to secure it. What do you think they're going to do when they have it? You think advertising company X is just going to say, okay, well, this individual gave us the right to their data, but we can't sell it to this other company for cheaper than he's asking because that would be immoral. I mean, it's just a different way of distributing your data to third parties. That's all it really is. And I don't believe for a minute that we have any sort of cryptocurrency platform that would truly respect the value that a individual places in their personality and in their identity, which would translate to the value that they place into their online preferences, I suppose. I mean, would you trust the Bitcoin developers with that? The Ethereum developers? I wouldn't.
No. Lord, no.
I wouldn't trust the Zencash people with that. No offense to Zencash. But I mean, that's my data. You know, that's my identity that we're talking about turning over to people. Everything. Yeah. I was talking with someone this morning about, you know, Gmail knows him better than his wife. Because he asked me a question, I was like, well, look, I'm not comfortable putting that in an email because Gmail turns things over to the government. And he was like, you know, and it's scary what level of information they have on me. He was like, they know me better than my wife, my father. They know me better than they know everything about him. And when you combine, you know, the IP tracking that's built into it, they also know where he's going, how long he's there.
I'm sorry, I'm just laughing.
Yeah, and that's valuable information. You shouldn't turn that information over to anyone. Create an entirely fake online identity, you know? Pretend to be trans online and just go with that online. Whatever you have to do to protect your actual identity, you should do. But don't turn it over to some distant third-party figure who totally promises to protect it, because that's how we got a freaking government. And it didn't work then either. And that's what you're saying. Well, I'm going to take this responsibility for protecting myself and my family, and I'm going to turn it over to these people called the police. Blockchain. And the police are going to take care of it for me. And then, oh, look, the police are the biggest murdering group of thugs that we have in the country. That didn't work. But, you know, it'll be totally different if we take our entire lives and personalities and turn them over to this third party over whom we have no actual control, not even pretended control like we have with the Constitution over our police. It's nuts, man.
Well, according to Alastair Johnson, the CEO of e-commerce and ID platform Nuggets, today the reality is that individuals don't control their personal data in any meaningful way. On average, a person has personal data in the form of payment card details, home addresses, email addresses, passwords, and other personal details spread over roughly 100 online accounts. They can access this data, but they don't own it. By contrast, the use of blockchain tech grants newfound control to the user, who will be empowered to share their ID data only with the parties they approve. This is achieved primarily through the utilization of decentralized identifiers, as explained by the Sovereign Foundation, which is building a blockchain platform aimed at providing individuals with self-sovereign identity, i.e. an ID that they can take with them from platform to platform.
And I will remind everyone that we're talking about Facebook, a company to whom we voluntarily gave our information, so hoping they would safeguard it or whatever.
In good faith.
Yeah, and which they then turn around and sold to anyone who had $1. And now we're talking about doing the same freaking thing, but it's totally different now because now the word blockchain is included.
Well, from what they're saying here is we get to be the one to sell it.
Yeah, okay, so I mean, the analogy would be selling your data to Facebook. Facebook is still going to turn around and sell it to everyone cheaper than you're selling it. Because that profit motive is there. If you're selling your data to them for, I don't know, half a cent per megabit, whatever, then they're going to sell it for a quarter of a cent per megabit once you sell it to them. And they're going to sell it to 3 people, and by that, they'll make a 50% profit. And you'll be sitting there going, well, crap, none of this worked out the way I planned. We probably should have seen this coming because it's happened literally every single time that we gave someone control over our data. They immediately turned around and sold it. So, I mean, it doesn't matter how you're storing your data. Not really. The person you sell it to is going to distribute it. That's what they do. That's what they've always done. Ever since the first, keylogger. Ever since the first installation of Microsoft Word. This is what they do. I wouldn't expect governments to stop murdering people either.
Right?
It's just what they do.
Tom.
Mm-hmm. I just echo everything Ari has been saying.
Right to say, just
that's two tech people saying this now.
Yeah, right, we got the tech person, and then we got the tech lawyer person, and they're both going, yeah, bad idea.
Because the only reason that I'm not saying it more and more forcefully is because of how thoroughly and forcefully Ari has been saying it. I didn't think it was possible for someone else to say so much about how bad an idea this is that I would have nothing left, and yet that is why Ari and I do radio together. Just don't do this. Don't do it. People. And anyone who tells you that in a paradigm like this that you will retain any kind of control over your information is a liar. 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 That you can have all the terms and conditions that you want. They'll change. Oh, they'll change. That's probably how they'll entice people to use this kind of technology. Because initially it'll be, well, you contain full control over how we use this.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with AgristHosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to AgristHosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's AgristHosting.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
More of the Call to Freedom is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene, the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Thursday, August 23rd, 2018. Silver is trading at $14.62 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,191 per ounce. Zencash is trading at $20, and the average price of Bitcoin is $6,423. Antiwar.com reports Senator Chris Murphy's amendment to withdraw all funding for the U.S. involvement in the war in Yemen was blocked by Senate leadership on Wednesday, preventing it from getting a vote for inclusion in the 2019 Defense Appropriations Act. There was language aiming to limit U.S. involvement in Yemen in the 2019 National Defense Authorization Act, but President Trump's signing statement indicated that he does not intend to comply with that. This meant using control over the funding through the Appropriations Act, which was the next real chance to require compliance. The Murphy amendment said largely the same thing as the language in the NDAA, except with the added threat of revoking funding. It seeks for the administration to certify that any U.S. involvement complies with international law. President Trump objected to offering such a report to Congress. Senate leaders complained they felt the Appropriations Act was too important to pass to allow it to be cluttered by amendments that limit where the war funding included in it goes. This means, barring another bid for a War Powers Act challenge, the unauthorized U.S. involvement in the war will continue. Born into a devastating world and raised among the crowd, the Cloudwalker assumes a new identity and begins the unrelenting quest for truth. In this epic journey, he discovers dark secrets about aspects of his previous life that he once trusted. Through the journal of the Cloudwalker, he shares both the traumatic hardships and the eternal beauties of his experiences. Dear Society by the Cloudwalker is available from Amazon.com. UPI reports existing home sales fell again in July, likely because of the high mortgage rates and high prices, continuing a 5-year decline, according to the National Association of Realtors. Sales of previously owned homes fell 0.7% to a seasonally adjusted annual rate of $5.34 million per year. The figure is 1.5% lower than it was in July 2017 and marks the fourth consecutive month of decline. Despite solid economic growth in the United States in the past year, rising prices, higher mortgage rates, and a limited inventory of available homes have forced some potential buyers out of the market. NAB economist Lawrence Yun said too many would-be buyers are either being priced out or are deciding to postpone their search until more homes in their price range come onto the market. Realtors have warned that many buyers, notably first-time buyers of homes, are being priced out. MarketWatch reported on Wednesday that they now acknowledge that other potential customers have chosen to wait until market conditions change. First-time purchasers made up 32% of all home buyers in July, a percentage slightly higher than in June, but still well below long-time averages. The NAB report noted an 8.3% decline in existing home sales in the Northeast in July, a 4.4% increase in the West, a 1.4% decline in the Midwest, and a 0.4% decline in the South. Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at weusecoins.com. That's weusecoins.com. Reuters reports a federal appeals court on Wednesday upheld a permanent injunction blocking Alabama from banning the most common method of second trimester abortions. But two judges from the 11th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals in Atlanta used the 3-0 decision to cast doubt on the Supreme Court's abortion jurisprudence, including that terminating a pregnancy is a constitutional right. Abortion is a central issue in the U.S. Senate confirmation process for President Donald Trump's Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh. A close vote is expected. Some states are passing restrictive abortion laws they hope might win favor from a conservative Supreme Court. Alabama was trying to enforce a 2016 law criminalizing the dilation and evacuation procedure, which the state calls dismemberment abortions. The law was challenged by the West Alabama Women's Center and Alabama Women's Center, the state's only abortion clinics performing the procedure. The American Civil Liberties Union represented them. Last October, U.S. District Judge Myron Thompson blocked enforcement, saying the law would effectively ban abortions in Alabama after 15 weeks. In Wednesday's decision, the first by a federal appeals court on the issue, Chief Judge Ed Carnes said the law imposed an undue burden on the right to end pregnancy before the fetus is viable. The ACLU said federal judges have blocked similar bans in 5 other states. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Every 44 seconds, someone in the United States suffers a heart attack. In 9 out of 10 instances, the heart attack victim will fail to theatrically stumble to the ground and grasp their chest. Don't be a statistic. A heart attack occurs when oxygenated blood is obstructed from flowing properly to the heart muscle and requires victims to act quickly by lurching around with one hand clutching their chest and the other hand reaching out for drapes, blinds, or tablecloths to violently yank out. The first 30 seconds of a heart attack is a critical window. If standing at the time of an attack, move into what is known as the L position by doubling over and grimacing in an unnaturally strained fashion. Use one outstretched hand to grasp for support as you stumble forward, while using the other trembling arm to sweep everything off a table.
is the Onion News Network.
You are listening to the Call to Freedom live on LRN.FM. تستمعون إلى نداء للحرية مباشرة على LRN.FM.
All right, welcome back to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM, where we are broadcasting live from the Zencash studio. And we were expecting to have a guest today that didn't quite work out, it seems. It's seriously disappointing for me.
Yeah, but you know how it is, though. We've always got a backup.
We do, but man,
We
I was
do.
looking forward to hearing straight from a professor of phenomenology the philosophies of Heidegger and Levinas, neither of whom I'm overly familiar with.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, it looks like there's a huge time difference.
There is.
It's like 11 o'clock at night there right now. I thought it was later than that.
Let's see there. I don't know. I
Watch
think
this.
they're UTC.
This is the beauty of technology. Current time in Johannesburg.
Yeah, now Google will forever know.
Juma Mubarak to all of you there in Johannesburg, South Africa. It is 12:07 a.m. It is officially midnight.
In another decade, Google will be turning over everyone's voice data to the government so that they can track where we are by our voices, the same way that the state of California is using license plate readers to do.
Oh, Aria, that's completely ridiculous. Google's been doing that for 5 years.
You know, I seem to recall that you're right and that they are already doing that, but I don't recall the specifics of it. Or whether or not that was just something I read on some, like free thought project or something like that.
I don't know. Well, since we aren't able to get into the subject we were hoping to get into, I found something that was... It made me kind of happy to see. I'm actually going to see. There's the full video that this comes from. I'm going to go home and watch when I get off the air tonight. This is he's going to be joining us next month, hopefully, when he gets back to the United Kingdom. Sheikh Abdul Hakim Murad, formerly known as Timothy Winter. He is the head of the Islamic Studies Department at Cambridge University. And a lot of people talk about Saudi Arabia. And everybody knows that they're involved in some way in the exportation and proliferation of extremist ideologies among Muslims across the world. Most specifically, the political philosophy known as Wahhabism, which is, it's basically a political like a supremacist philosophy that uses religion as its backbone, if that makes sense.
So it's statism with a religious mask on.
Yeah, exactly. It was born of a tribal leader and an individual who was regarded as the horns of Shaitan. That's the horns of Satan.
I gathered that.
By the academic,
so proud of myself.
By his academic contemporaries. So the head of the Hanafi school called him the horns of Shaitan. His own father and brother referred to him as well as the horns of Shaitan. He had a political merger with the bin Saud family, and that's what created Saudi Arabia later, after they allied with Great Britain. And Great Britain was like, oh, you're the craziest of the crazies. We'll put money into you because it'll help us get rid of our other political enemy, the Ottomans. Because the Ottomans at the time controlled all of the oil-rich land all over the world. Well, all over, that side of the world. And England was like, we want that. So they started working a long time ago.
I've realized that World War I and II both were just Europe attempting to divide up the spoils of the world.
Yeah,
I mean, that's literally all they were. It's like, no, England is claiming everything, and we're not going to stand for that.
Right.
So we're going to take our slice.
Well, according to Sheikh
and
Abdul
then America stepped up and like, no, we get everything.
Right. Well, according to Sheikh Murad, there's a discussion happening now, alhamdulillah, in Saudi about leaving Wahhabism, Salafism behind. And here he is talking about it.
They should pick up Sufism.
When I was in Saudi Arabia, that there's now a national debate there where they're aware that the Muslim world is kind of on fire and that they have an implication in this, and they kind of know it. They know that their very, very narrow and bitter interpretation is causing these explosions. Why is it that Yemen and Libya and Iraq and Syria, where things were pretty cool and pretty calm between different sorts of people until very recently, are now the world's worst examples of intercommunal, very un-Abrahamic, inhospitable fighting? Well, they're conscious of it. So I just want to leave you with a few thoughts. Here is, as part of the national debate that they're now having on television between sheikhs who are pro and anti the official Salafist line. So here is Sheikh Abdul Kalbani, who is from the establishment there and a former imam of the Haram in Mecca, talking about Daesh, which is the ISIS phenomenon in Syria, Iraq and elsewhere. He says, Daesh has adopted Salafist thought. It's not the Muslim Brotherhood's thought, Qutbism, Sufism or Asharite thought. They drew their ideas from what's written in our own books, from our own principles. The ideological origin is Salafism. They exploited our own principles that can be found in our own books. We follow the same thoughts but apply it in a refined way. This is a real crisis for them. The kingdom is kind of wobbly, and we should be praying for its stability, I think, because its collapse into sectarian chaos would be a disaster for the Ummah and for the Haramain. We should be praying for the kingdom's stability, evidently. But they're having this conversation at the moment, and I saw a television interview on Prince Walid's channel, Rotana, with one of the sheikhs, Sharif Al-Auni, where he's written publicly in Al-Hayat newspaper and other newspapers saying the reason why the old, inclusive, beautiful adab but good neighborliness between different communities of the Abrahamic world is now breaking down is because of certain ideas that are in the books of Muhammad bin Abdul Wahhab. You can see the interview on YouTube. It's kind of public knowledge. Everybody there is talking about it. He says their ideology comes from our ideology, and we need to think very carefully about what we're exporting. So I think that we need to take the views of those Saudi sheikhs seriously and to respect the public debate that they're now having. They can see that wherever that ideology is going, people shout more loudly into the microphones, people are angrier about their non-Muslim neighbours, people are angrier about other interpretations of Islam, and countries which need everybody to be good neighbours are now apparently irreparably broken and torn up, and we weep for Syria and Iraq, and those places are dear to our hearts, and to see them collapse in this kind of unnecessary sectarian hatred between people who should be Abrahamic brethren is very painful. But these sheikhs in Saudi Arabia are now saying these ideas, Salafist ideas, are an interpretation of our own books and our own ideas. And Sharif Al-Auni, I saw him on TV, says it's not coming from Sufism, it's not coming from Asharism, it's not coming from any other Islamic school of thought. Where this interpretation of Salafiyya takes root, in a country where people are ethnically diverse and the place has to be neighbourly, it's sowing the seeds of a detonation. That's their view, and I suggest that we treat it with respect, and inshallah, because it's the land of the Haramain, we'll make dua that that debate is resolved in a positive way, and that the Muslims there and everywhere return to something that's more authentic, that we have the courage to overcome our narrow-mindedness and our desire to blame other members of the Abrahamic family and move back to something that is uncompromising and more true to the spirit of the Sunnah and to the mithaq of Alastu bi Rabbikum and to the way of Sayyidina Ibrahim Khalilullah alayhi wa ala nabiyyina as-salam. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to quench those fires and to calm the ummah and to make us once again visibly خير أمة أخرجت للناس.
Are you sick of government lackeys who say you didn't build that? Are you tired of elitists who think you need a government permission slip for everything? Everything you do is an A to B conversation, and the government should see their way out of it. Create true free markets by adopting the BIPCOT No Government License. The BIPCOT No Gov license allows use or modification of any product, service, or software except by governments or government agents. Go to BIPCOT.org. That's Bravo, India, Papa, Charlie, Oscar, Tango.org.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
The Fact Zone. I'm Brooke Alvarez. Our top story tonight, Congress has passed a bill naming incomprehensible shouting the official language of the United States.
I'm sick and tired of listening to people who say that Americans should not know what to know, and that's not what it is, and what the policy is. The red-blooded American is what we have in this day and age.
Under the new law, public school classes will only be taught in incomprehensible shouting, and government agencies will no longer offer translators to non-shouting speakers. In addition, a new test will be added to the naturalization process, whereby potential immigrants must prove they have a working knowledge of incomprehensible shouting before they're granted citizenship. The movement started in 2008 with a grassroots organization called Americans for Doing It Right, because we got it now, because who else, right? Come on!
This is the Onion News Network, a tomahawk of honesty in the skull of lies.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
This is Angel Clark, and you're listening to The Call to Freedom on LRN.fm.
العسر يسرا ربنا أعلاك قدرا يا إمام الأنبياء أنت في الوجدان.
All right, welcome back here to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. We're broadcasting live from our Zencast studio here in beautiful Keene, New Hampshire. And it is another beautiful day in the Shire. Coming up on the last half of our third hour on the air on this beautiful Thursday afternoon, your drive home. And, we were supposed to have Raphael Winkler, a professor at the University of Johannesburg in Johannesburg, South Africa, to discuss his upcoming book, The Philosophy of Finitude, which was it's a discussion of the work of Heidegger, Nietzsche, and Levinas. The last one I'm not particularly familiar with. But we were hoping to have him on. Unfortunately, I don't know what happened, time change, something. We weren't able to get a hold of him today.
Yeah.
So
the last communication I have from him is 2 days ago.
Huh.
Of course, I've contacted him since, but there's been no reply.
I wonder if
that really sucks.
He didn't think we were talking like his side of the world, right?
No, he knew Eastern Standard Time.
Okay, all right. So, excuse me. So we decided to leave that off and go on to a different subject of Saudi Arabia. Now, currently, Saudi Arabia is in a war with Yemen, where they have murdered countless civilians, recently bombing a school bus filled with children that you can, though I would personally not suggest it, see the video of the children on the bus laughing and playing, and then
and that's certainly Saudi Arabia's fault, but the rest of it I'm not sure that it is.
Well, you know what? Saudi Arabia wouldn't have the weapons if the U.S. and Canada and the United Kingdom hadn't sold them to them.
Yeah, but more to the point of what he was saying, Jesus said a lot of really good things, but that has become twisted and been used as a justification for a lot of evil, none of which I don't think was Jesus's fault. And I don't know the specifics of what Saudi Arabia's religious practices are really saying, but what other people extract from that and how other people interpret it and then act in accordance with it, I'm not sure is going to be Saudi Arabia's fault any more than it's Jesus's fault that we went through the Spanish Inquisition.
Well, the conversation that's important now, though, is the fact that much like the Enlightenment period in England, there's discussion finally happening where there's an acknowledgement of the fact that the philosophy that's been exported from Saudi Arabia for the last 200 years is not successful. It's creating, this. We spoke about it before. Like progressive Islam is a reaction to this puritanical, inquisitional type of Islam that never existed before. Where there's a single, there's an attempt to create a single hegemony. When it's always been a concept of mutual orthodoxy previously. I mean, oddly enough, the top Shia scholar, Al-Jafari, was a Sunni. He's accepted by both. But the Sunnis today, this is really funny. He was one of the most celebrated Sunni scholars previously, but with the rise of Wahhabism and Salafism, which are basically two words for the same thing, now you don't see that anymore. It's different.
Well, yeah, I mean, now Shia and whatever the other one you said,
Sunnis
are killing each other.
Yeah. It used to be that a Sunni Muslim would read Al-Jafari because he's a celebrated Sunni scholar. But now, simply because the Shia listen to him, and they won't. You'll see and this is historic, this is, developing throughout history, that you have Sunnis trying to out-Sunni the Shia, and Shia trying to out-Shia the Sunnis. So, like, they become so, like, they both started at this place in the middle, and as they became more polarized, their philosophy and religion also changed.
I mean, that's what we see in the U.S. now with Democrats and Republicans, where we have Nazis reacting to the socialists who are reacting to the Nazis who are reacting to the socialists. And for each move, one of them makes an even more extreme counter move.
And it didn't start, and that, I think that started with Nixon and Carter and Reagan, that whole thing.
I can't imagine where it started, but it went wrong somewhere.
From what I hear from older family members, it used to be Americans could have reasonable conversations about politics.
Oh, now you can't even be friends with someone unless they agree with you politically.
Yeah.
Right, and what I was going to say, and I think it applies to both situations, is that it's not really the extreme ends of either ideology that are the problem. It's the fact that everybody in the middle has gotten caught up in the extremist attitude, and the difference is that in the United States, on our political divide, we've done it ourselves. What's happened in the Muslim world is that the West has driven people into the arms of the extremist by bombing the fire out of the regular people.
Well, not only that,
making those extreme philosophies that much more palatable, and then propping up the governments that espouse the extreme ideologies on the other side, depending on where you are in the region.
That's because that's convenient for us. The Saudis don't like Iran, and neither do we. So there's really no problem. There's a disconnect, a moral disconnect that's saying, no, it's totally okay for us to ally with, a country that beheads people for speaking out against the government. It's reasonable. Totally reasonable. And that we allow ourselves to be in bed with people that are the real deplorables, to be honest.
Look what Israel is doing.
Yeah, I know.
West Bank.
But that's okay, because those are Europeans. It's different. See, that whole thing, it always plays back to the same fiddle tune over and over and over. We'll be back right after this.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Nestle Toll House Morsels, helping you create special moments and memories your family will cherish forever. Visit us at tollhouse.com. You may bake for birthdays and holidays, but why stop there? Sweeten up the rest of the year by designating monthly dessert days. Treat your family to one of their favorites or surprise them with something new. Either way, you'll create a tradition everyone will love. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
The Shire Free Church offers a sanctuary to those seeking an escape from state churches.
The Shire Free Church is an interfaith, diverse group of people that may not share identical theological beliefs. As a member in or minister of the Shire Free Church, you are a sovereign individual and may be the faith of your choice.
We don't claim to have all of the answers.
We are open to all peaceful people.
We want to learn from each other.
What unifies the Shire Free Church and its diverse members is peace,
love,
and liberty. There are many paths to God, one for every individual.
The Shire Free Church does not define a specific path beyond those parameters that must be your foundation.
Peace as your way,
love as your guide,
and liberty as your light.
Learn more at church.shiresociety.com.
That's church.shiresociety.com.
Did you know you can get news updates about what's happening with the Liberty Radio Network delivered in the way you prefer? You can sign up for our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. Plus, you can stay in the loop by joining our Facebook profile at facebook.lrn.fm or follow us at Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm. It's all free, so sign up now at updates.lrn.fm for news updates delivered to your email box, facebook.lrn.fm to follow our Facebook page, and twitter.lrn.fm to receive our tweets.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it. And once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world. So I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here. And I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit shiresociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at shiresociety.com. That's shiresociety.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
You're listening to The Call to Freedom on LRN.FM.
تستمتعون إلى برنامج نداء للحرية مباشرة على LRN.FM.
يا صلي وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم مولاي صلي وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم محمد سيد الكونين والثقلين محمد
All right, welcome back here to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM, broadcasting live from our Zencash studio here in beautiful Keene, New Hampshire. And Tom has stepped out because it's Tom's birthday today. He's on his way to celebrate his birthday at a birthday party and has left Aria and I here to control the last half hour of your time with us on the airwaves.
Yeah, and I got to remember to mention that we are now on Patreon. So check that out at patreon.com/call-to-freedom.
There we go. Again, that's patreon.com/call-to-freedom. You'll get mentioned on the show. This is what we're going to do for our Libertarian Drama of the Week. Patreon will be, our Patreon folks will be the sponsors of Libertarian Drama of the Week.
Well, those who sponsor us to a certain degree are.
Okay.
Others sponsor other segments or get mentions at the end of the week and things like that.
Okay,
So
there's all kinds of different
There's different
things.
tiers.
Very cool, very cool. Are there anywhere like you get a free t-shirt or anything? Not yet.
That would be up to you.
Not yet. We'll figure it out. $50.
50
Or,
bucks.
oh, wait. Monthlies.
Well, I mean, they're all monthly donations.
A recurring?
Huh?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I imagine there is some mechanism where you could just give us a one-time payment, but by default, it's a monthly subscription.
Oh, very cool. Very
so,
cool.
I mean, the ones we have now are supporting us every single month.
Very, very cool. All right. So let's see here. Yeah, we were talking about this, this new 200-year-old philosophy that arose within Islam. Now you have
that functions as though it was something put there intentionally to sow seeds of chaos and destruction.
The funny thing is,
right around the same time that we put people in charge of the Middle East, there was also the rise of this philosophy that seems to have been put there intentionally to cause chaos and destruction. I'm not saying,
well, funny enough,
put it there
are eschatological hadith, and what that means, eschatology is the study of the end times, apocalyptic study. That's eschatology, and there are hadith that talk about
scatology.
Eschatology.
I think scatology would be more correct.
So I think that's something else. Anyway,
oh, it is.
Yeah. So anyway, there are hadith traditions that are considered eschatological in nature, and one of them talks. There's an interaction between the Prophet ﷺ and a man from a region of Saudi Arabia called Al-Najd, the Najd Desert.
So hold on, before you explain all of this. Are you arguing that the Saudis or the people of this religious tradition want to bring about Armageddon in the same way that the Christian right does?
Well, oddly enough, there's an argument that's put forward by a number of scholars that I follow that the rise of Wahhabism is that the whole horns of Shaitan, that's a part of this tradition, is that basically a man told the prophet that he wasn't being just in the way that he was dividing up wealth, and grabbed him by his cloak and left a red mark on his neck. And the Sahaba, the companions of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they wanted to attack him because of what he had done. And as always, the Prophet was like, chill out, y'all. There's no need for that. But from him, I have seen, from him will come the horns of Shaitan, and from his region, where he's from, Al-Najd, the Najd Desert, which is also where the father of the Wahhabi tradition comes from. So, and again, his own father and brother said that he was the fulfillment of that hadith. That they felt that he was that fulfillment. Because he said it was okay to kill the scholars that disagree with you, basically. If there are people that disagree with you in the religion, kill them. It's okay. He was the one who opened the door to that we see today in his philosophical tradition. So...
yeah, I mean, I don't see how that could be compatible with any theistic belief, because whatever God you worship, that God put that non-believer there, or that person who disagrees with you there.
Well, Quran itself tells you that, it says, were it my will, all men would have believed the same.
Yeah.
And then asks the question, and you would compel men to believe? Like it asks the question in an incredulous fashion. Like, really?
Yeah, I mean,
that
it's very
was
much
your
like,
brilliant idea?
It's very much like saying, I don't approve of the way God is doing things, so allow me to take this whole thing into my own hands and kill you because God isn't.
Well, one of the we do those the Keen Rocks thing where we paint the rocks with my kids, and then we go with my kids downtown and we hide the rocks all over the place for other people to find. And part of that, we wrote some sayings of the Prophet down on some of these rocks, and one of those was related to that whole idea that I now have lost because my brain is not working because I haven't slept well in the last few days. What was I talking about?
Well, there is no compulsion in religion.
Well, there's that one.
It's essentially what we were discussing. Or that, the non-believer in any theistic tradition is here because
the
deity wills it.
Says that God made you many tribes and nations that you may know one another, not that you may make war with one another. And in this is a test from him. And that basically the fact that we're all different is a test. That God made it that way on purpose. And that those of us who turn to hatred of one another based on these ridiculous, things that we can't even help. Are you a girl? Are you a boy? Are you black? Are you brown? Are you yellow? Are you, are you blue? And literally, there are people from southern India that are blue.
There's also people who drink silver.
Yeah.
But I don't think they weren't born blue. They just turned that way.
So
'Cause they're idiots.
I mean, this is a test. Like, God created man like this as a test for mankind to learn how to get along. Like, learning how to get along with people who are different than you is something that God created purposefully.
Well, I will agree. It's certainly not easy. It does require a lot of, and there's no better word for it. We should have a better word for it. We don't. But it does require a lot of spiritual growth to go from the darkness of ignorance or naivety, as I would prefer to call it, of not understanding other people because you don't know them, to opening your mind and being willing to know them.
Wow. I like that. I really like that. That was nice. That was a really good, I think that's you know what? We're just going to end this segment on that note. When we get back
I
here,
try to remember what I said.
Right. Well, it's recorded. So there you go. All right. So when we get back here in just a moment, we're going to continue on. We've got a story blown out of the water here. The FDA has finally given us an answer on whether or not they're going to give us trials for psilocybin to treat depression. We will have their answer for you when we get back.
Roll another one, just like the other one. You've been hanging on to it.
What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveatpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveatpurse.com.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
Imagine someone in your community getting in their car, turning on the radio, and hearing the Liberty Radio Network. You can make that vision a reality with your own micro radio station. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how you can put our programs on the air in your area. You can have LRN.FM running around the clock, and you can even add in your own local shows. Building a radio station is simple, but programming isn't. That's where LRN.FM comes in. Learn more at broadcast.lrn.fm. That's broadcast.lrn.fm.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
The three most important things you can do for LRN.FM are: 1. Let your friends know you're listening to LRN.FM on your social networking profile. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.lrn.fm. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program at amp.lrn.fm. It's my firm belief that the AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented groups. Support all your favorite organizations, but Make sure you give $5 a month to the AMP program at amp.lrn.fm.
Never, ever send a follow-up email asking, "Did you get my email?" Email 101. If it didn't bounce back undeliverable, it got where you sent it. And avoid transmedia pestering, like calling to ask, "Did you get my email?" or emailing to say, "I left you a voicemail." If your emails and voicemails aren't being acknowledged, your problem isn't technology, it's technique. Is your message concise and understandable? Have you boiled it down to seem as relevant as possible to the recipient? In other words, is it the opposite of spam or junk mail? All of this really matters if you're a job seeker. But even if you're not, with money and attention so scarce now, effective communication skills have never been more important. For more tips, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
You are listening to the Call to Freedom on LRN.fm. आप सुन रहे हैं स्वतंत्रता की पुकार सिर्फ और सिर्फ LRN.fm पे।
All right, welcome back here to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. Oh, goodness.
Is that
gracious.
Ozzy covering it? That does not sound like David Gilmour.
It's not. It's the Easy Star All-Stars.
Okay.
Yeah, Easy Dub All-Stars. Easy Star All-Stars. Dub side. Yeah, it's a really good album.
Speaking of Ozzy, we should find a way to work Sweet Leaf into the Cannabis Hour
right
segment. So you've got a story for us.
I do.
That's probably more up my alley than yours.
Yeah. Well, Compass Pathways has received FDA approval for psilocybin therapy clinical trials for treatment-resistant depression. That's right. Compass Pathways, a life sciences company dedicated to accelerating patient access to evidence-based innovation in mental health, has received approval from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration for a clinical trial in psilocybin therapy for treatment-resistant depression. Regulatory approvals for the trial have already begun in the UK, the Netherlands, and Canada. The trial phase is a 2B dose ranging study with 216 patients taking part in a 12 to 15 research sites across Europe and North America. It will begin in the UK later this month, and sites in other countries will join the trial as further regulatory approvals are received.
You know, it comes back to that criticism that we've leveled before, though, which is that, you know, we've already done these clinical trials. That's how we learned in the first place that psilocybin cubensis was good for depression. So, I mean, yes, we have to be able to verify results and things like that, but we've also already done that by this point. So, I mean, I'm glad the FDA is going to allow it, though. Don't get me wrong. I wish that it worked for me.
Right. Psilocybin therapy combines a dose of psilocybin, a psychoactive medicine, and the active ingredient in magic mushrooms with psychological support, and has shown promising signals of efficacy and safety as a treatment for depression in academic studies in the UK and the US. If the trial is successful, it will be followed by a phase 3 study. Awesome. So we're in phase 2 and now moving to phase 3. George Goldsmith, the chairman and co-founder of Compass Pathways, says, "We're excited to be starting this landmark trial, which has potential to transform lives. Depression is the leading cause of ill health and disability worldwide. treatment-resistant depression affects more than 100 million people. I got an idea. How about we stop making people so depressed, and then they won't need to take magic mushrooms. How about we stop collapsing the economy, throwing people in prison for victimless crimes?
That's such a complicated area, though, because strictly speaking, depression is a chemical imbalance in the brain. It's not caused by events in real life. It's simply a chemical imbalance. And I am somewhat bothered, I'm not going to say offended or anything like that, but when people say, oh, I'm so depressed, my dog died. Well, you're not depressed, you're sad. I mean, there is that critical difference where depression doesn't have a cause other than the chemical imbalance. But
I've been sad.
Yeah, psilocybin cubensis won't fix that chemical imbalance. It'll fix someone who is chronically sad and probably who has anxiety issues and long-term problems that they need to deal with. But people who are dealing with the chemical imbalance are going to be SOL on it. But there are so few of those that are just dealing with the chemical imbalance.
Yeah.
That, depression ends up having other causes.
Debilitatingly sad, I guess is what you would call it. Like when I first became Muslim, I basically lost everything in about a week. And I caught my current wife, the one I'm with now, but at the time. So this is a new wife. My previous wife. There we go. I caught my previous wife in a t-shirt and panties at my best friend's house the morning at like 6 o'clock in the morning.
Oh God, dude, I'm so sorry.
The best man at our wedding, best friend. Yeah, it was rough.
I mean, nothing hurts like that.
Yeah, it was really rough. And it was so bad that cannabis made me want to kill myself. I had to quit using cannabis altogether because, that was the point where I had to quit using cannabis, was because it was making me suicidal. It was weird. It was the first time I'd ever had that experience where cannabis was having the opposite of an anti-anxiety effect. All of a sudden, it was making me more unhappy, more depressed, more in the dumps.
That's what it does to me every time I smoke.
That's weird. But I've never been at a point that I couldn't recover, or that there wasn't a cause, there wasn't a catalyst.
Right.
I've been in those low depths before, but there was always a catalyst. And within a few months, you're back.
Yeah.
Maybe not the same, but you're back all the same.
Well, ideally not the same. And I would certainly make the argument
I think
that those
sometimes you come back, you're not the same means damaged, broken, pieces missing.
Yeah. I wouldn't disagree.
And I think that's
I would
what
think it tends towards improvement.
The whole deal with the psilocybin, from what I'm understanding, is that all that the psilocybin is doing is it's allowing you to get back in touch with that part of yourself that knows where those missing bits are. So that you can, because when you were broken, you put yourself back together with the pieces that you could find. But there was a part of your consciousness that you couldn't access.
I know how that goes.
And the psilocybin,
well, it took me nearly 30 years to go, oh, I'm trans.
Gives you the ability to access those pieces. And then you can take it apart and then put it back together again the way it was supposed to look to start with.
Very cool.
Well, at least that's what it seems like.
That's certainly a good thing. And it's certainly something that most people are going to need.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I don't think we should be...
You got record high...
We should be throwing the whole chemical imbalance thing out altogether, I think, and focus on people's internal emotional states, which I think is going to be far more important. Like that. We are a society of damaged, broken people. Some damaged and broken by the state, some by their family, some by friends, some by ex-lovers. There's all kinds of reasons.
Here's some stories. 10 hours ago, young doctors are depressed. 13 hours ago, millennial moms struggle more with depression. 13 hours ago, when depression and anxiety are really ADHD. 3 hours ago, bad day or childhood depression. Depression in mothers impacts child's immune and psychological development.
That's exactly what I'm saying. We just throw the word depression out too much. Depression is an illness treated as a chemical imbalance in the brain, and that's how it's treated. But this is emotionally damaged people having issues because of that emotional damage. And that's what needs to be addressed. That's what we need to focus on. Like, hey, someone screwed this individual up. Only this individual can fix him.
Pregnancy depression on the rise. 5% of new fathers need treatment for postnatal depression. Let's see here. New study shows that's the same thing again. Greg Boyd. People with depression have low levels of energy-producing hormones. Just story after story after story. Treating teen depressions may be great for parents' mental health. Midlife fitness may stave off depression. Summer depression is real. 8 hacks for exercising when depressed. Everything you see. I mean, that's just stories that have come out in the last 24 hours.
I believe it.
You know, America's obsessed with depression.
Because we're pointing the finger at that instead of having the courage to address the real issue, which is that we keep screwing ourselves and other people up.
Yeah. Using the state to hurt people, and then that stuff doesn't go away. That stuff that we put out, the violence, the hate, the anger that is put out, all over, it doesn't go away. It exists, and it's affecting us all. Let's try to treat each other a little bit better. Speak a little kinder. Keep that middle finger to yourself a little more often. We'll be back tomorrow, but don't go anywhere right now because Free Talk Live is coming up next.
Catch the Call to Freedom at its new time, weekdays from 4 to 7 p.m. The Call to Freedom is the only live drive-home call-in show in the U.S. with a segment devoted to cryptocurrencies. Crypto Hour, brought to you by Helium.com, live from Vertcoin Studios in New Hampshire. Learn about what makes cryptocurrencies so great and why you should care about them. Updates on new coins and ICOs, and warnings of scams. Plus, hear from traders, whales, developers, and big names in the crypto world. You can also win crypto coins or tokens every episode. Just listen for the faucet sound and be the 5th caller to get free Dash, Litecoin, Vertcoin, Verge, or other cryptocurrencies. The Call to Freedom with Will and Aria, featuring Crypto Hour. Broadcast internationally through our BitPlus network satellite. Weekdays from 4 to 7 p.m. on LRN FM.
Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8444